Good morning, or whatever it is wherever you are. Alright, so I think we set this up. No, it's your 5,000. That'll sort of work with some death data. Now, it can still only query by birth time. But we could start to do some death locations, which might be a little bit different. Would be, well, did we put the cosmetic selection in here? Yeah. This is point color. We don't currently have a selection for the space dimension, I guess. Other things we have for color. I guess if we're doing death, we should do death time. Well, death time is, Oh, we actually have the ability to do actual lifetime on these. So that might be a little thing. So right now it's always 1 hour. Alright, so right now we draw, fade time is 60 by 60. But wouldn't it just be point dot death time? Oh, and this... Wait, if time is advancing, and I did this between, shouldn't this have been... Right, this should have been birth time plus fade time. But now we have death time. Now, what we have here is a fade time. That was a global. Or sort of a default. So actually alpha is inverse, but it could just be t. And t can be point dot death time. Oh. But there isn't always a death time. There's guaranteed to be a birth time. There's not guaranteed to be a death time. So we have to be at a particular point. This was set this. We do our filtering up front. Now here is where we need Um, this. Then we can use, well, we still need the range there. Oh, because we clicked it into yesterday mode. And yeah, we messed it up real good. Dit time. Oh. And there it is, undefined. Still messed up really good, but not immediately an error. Point dot birth time, death time. Okay, those look like 2 actual times. It's a little bit spammy. So we were just subtracting the fade time before, so it should be the same units. Well, most of these are going to be out of bounds. Okay, so that's completely unresponsive. Ooh. Well then. I don't suppose... Nope. Let's see if we can just end one... Nope, that was everything. Oh, but it restored tabs. Okay. Okay, nothing is ever in bounds. Oh, I was checking out of bounds before. Right. Wait, so if time is between... so following the sort of paradigm this is set up, we actually want to do... this. It's less than birth time... or greater than death time. Or wait, does that work? That seems to work. Alright, so now this... we actually want to change time scale. Alright, so we got ourselves into yesterday mode. I thought that's the advantage of loading the layer for us. So the speed is up here now. So this is, yeah, you can see some very blinky bits. So, I mean, this is a little bit more true to where people are actually living. Oh, it probably does make it a little bit harder to figure out where the eave spiral is because you don't have them kind of lingering around. Ooh, that's still a bad color. So maybe we eventually want to make that an option. Oh, yeah, when I get to interpolation, or if I get to interpolation, it's going to be problematic with the tiling because you have to know if the current point is within the tile. So you have to do a bunch of math before you can do the bounds check. All right, well, that's something. Oh, another thing. It was in the view. Yeah, we don't often do that, but sometimes we have to cache bust that. Index, we touch a lot more, so that's not so bad. Uh, all right, so now the other thing we could do, we added these things. Coloration by cause of death. We've already got a thing for color. Death time color would really only matter in really small scale setups. All right, so you have to do. So the Elm side is going to be upset about that. All right, will that even compile? I'm surprised there wasn't an intermediary stage there where it didn't compile. And oh, map. Set point color. Okay, so that just goes down to there. Oh, we've been doing individual colors as we go through here. So this is going to be probably an explicit palette. Point.cause. Yeah, I don't know if there's anything that really is similar to this. So causes of death. Where is... Wrong, must be the wrong modifier key. What? Well, distinct values is going to be a lot of killer, unfortunately. So we're probably going to have to do not equal to killer distinct. DB lives where... how did they do not? Not equal. This is going to be a not like. Not in. SQL dot not column. String operators. SQL dot not, SQL dot like. Did I not have enough parentheses there? The OR operator requires at least one argument. That was squiggle, right? SQL.squiggle. I'd swear I've done this before. Wrong number of arguments. Boolean expression. Oh, like probably needs multiple SQL.name. Okay, 2 arguments. Cause. Why would that cause a syntax error? Maybe it tries to say, oh, well, this wasn't supposed to be a function call. Not like, that probably needs there. That feels like all of them. Well, it's not all of them, but that's actually a surprising amount of overall deaths. Huh. Alright, so we want, and then we want, do you do, maybe it's select distinct? No. Select distinct on cause. Okay, well that wasn't entirely what I wanted. Distinct on cause star. Alright, disconnect hunger, old age. It's apparently not considering the nil case. And I know that that's in there because we saw it there. I wonder if the like is removing it, but I didn't realize that there was unknowns. Interesting. Alright, so we need to do if cause.match killer, we can take out death right away, or murder right away. Oh, this one's actually going to need a data scale, isn't it? It just so might be a good model for this. Is 0 red? And then So hunger. Old age. Disconnect. Unknown. And default is probably... not present. All right, so old age, you would think... Could we do saturation 0? That might not show up well. Unknown. Don't know what to do with that. Hunger. Maybe brown. That'll sort of work. That's actually like really close to like 30. I want to keep it distinct from gray. $30, $50. Old age. Disconnect, I almost want to say should be black. I guess there's no reason not to have that. Unknown. What's unknown? $290. So I mean, like full on purple, magenta would be probably somewhere. 360, 310. So 280 would be something? No, because 240 is something. Oh no, 30 degrees would be 360, 330, 300. 270. Which is also kind of a purple. That's more like 290. And then default is not dead yet. I don't know. Maybe we should actually filter out in that one. Well, actually, there's a kind of a cheap way to do that. We can go ahead and set, is it green 90, I would guess? Alright, cause of, it's just we have that attribute, and that is the thing we're selecting. Okay, you're still good. Uh-oh. Oh, it's not case default, it's default. No, I wanted to backspace, thank you. We have kind of lost our address, though. Oh, including the yesterday part. Okay, so just straight up data. Layer.options.data is undefined, cause is null. Oh, right. Yeah, so we definitely need a color key. Alright, so when things are faded out so you can see multiple points, but that makes it hard to see stuff. So we want to make sure our red, well, we've got maximum saturation. And it's really just the alpha effect. You know, instead of global alpha, I could do point-based alpha color. That wouldn't let me kind of globally, well, because I do fade things out over time. Well, in that mode. But yeah, I'm going to disable global alpha for a bit and see how that looks. Well, okay, in this mode, it's really this. Okay, well, murder stick out a little bit more. Wow. Okay, so I think we might need brighter death color, because it's really not sticking out. So maybe more of a white. Got the disconnects. That will kind of leave the hungers alone. There's just not many unknowns. Now I have to figure out how to put a color scale on here. And yeah, that's not the bright red I was hoping for. Maybe a little bit lighter. Okay, I think that's stacked data. Okay, so I think the old age has become too indistinct against the background. I mean, I could just make it white. Wouldn't show up again in the Arctic then, though. Yeah, and I'm not getting the, like, bright red I was hoping for on the murder. So that's too white. That's too white. Do I actually need a deeper red? And then old age. I guess it's sort of sticking out. If anything, disconnect should almost kind of be a faded out thing. I mean, you could say, oh, look at all the suicide babies, but it's really less, to me, it's less interesting than the ways people are actually dying. So maybe you get an alpha? Or so that might kind of turn it into a gray. Yeah, that's effectively a kind of gray. And yeah, the murder color's too dark. I wonder, is it this color model is a little weird? Or is it something else that's going on? And what do I do with you? So we've currently got something down around there. Doesn't matter since we're not on the same kind of background. But it's kind of doing effectively that. That'll look kind of like our brown. Purple again. This is going to be a very common color. Maybe it's into the purple? And I guess I could do a very, very light yellow, because that just will fade, well, it'll fade to that background. Oh, the old ages actually show up better here. Oh, this is... an interesting one here. Well, for this one, you really kind of want to be location of death, which is another dimension we have to work out. But you could kind of, you might be able to see like murder massacres. Oh, and with the time, actually, yeah, with the time base, in this view, the disconnects are just going to blink out. So in that view, they're not too big of a problem. What do we do with you? Because we did used to have the global alpha, so that you could kind of see points on top of each other. And unfortunately, the hunger color does very poorly there. What's the problem with the stacked points? And at some point, these things are going to be really heavily stacked. Maybe that default alpha needs to be a parameter. What's especially bad for picking out murders? Well, that was quite the little war road there. You almost want to do a filter on a particular cause of death, but that's actually that is a thing I could do in filters. All right, so we've got a color scale. Or we've got a coloration. But based on the thing we selected, we have to be able to put up a scale somehow. I don't suppose. Tile and image layers, map interaction. I think this was still dealing with markers. I think it's a particular kind of map. Flow of objects. Okay, so yes, they're mostly dealing with like large shapes and things. So I don't think CSS filters get color, okay. Modify colors. Colorize floating point pixels. Oh. Is that... Oh, this is my color scheme. Local burden of disease. Year. Okay, well that's not the greatest control. Leaflet tile layer, GL color. Oh, and also this has no scale. Raster data sets. Linear color scales. Okay, so they've got data and that converts it into a color scale. Yeah, so they have a... Well, I guess I don't know what their data format is. Preload a tile set in the background. Oh, okay, so there's, yeah, PNG files. So that's interesting, perhaps for the population density thing. But I don't think anything is like out of the box. Will show me some kind of color scale. So the others, well, it would be useful to define our points. But like for this one, you know, maybe I should just need to pick some more distant points. There's like lots of reds and browns and grays. So from that perspective, reds and browns. Disconnects should be somewhere in here. Actually, cayenne proved to be kind of hard to see. So you're around 180. Okay, so it's there, it's distinct. But it's like almost invisible. Maybe it's a little bit too invisible. What is hue, saturation, lightness? And that has that very, very dark aspect to it, to the entire thing again. I was trying to get the murders to pop, but that's sort of visible. I really want this. Oh, yeah, people who were traveling to the towns ultimately die. We don't need to get death point on this. But I just don't feel good doing this without a scale. And the scale could be on the map, or the scale could be over here, I guess. This is probably going to have a bunch of stuff on it. And right now, the color is completely defined on this end, so it makes a little bit more sense to do it here. Although it does mean doing a custom JavaScript control. Alright, so we've got a button. Control sidebar. Oh man, all this for a button. Alright, so lineage can't really be effectively keyed. Or, I mean, if it could, it'd be a very, 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 very long list. Those are both linear on the same scale, though they have different interpretations. Oh, I could include that in this data. Now that we've got it, I just don't have a place to actually put it. So, I mean, then you could kind of work it out. Well, you'd probably figure out the disconnects. So this is going to have to be like always there and only visible some of the time when there's something useful to show. Leaflet control, color scale. Alright, so this doesn't need a link. It doesn't need all this stuff. It doesn't really need a click. It doesn't really have a toggle. Yeah, it might need to sort of display and hide itself. I guess this could actually be Man, this isn't itself an overlay. So I'll be turning it on similar to that. So this is a knit layout. This is one. Oh, we need to like make our container. And that's going to get weird with the time controls, I suspect. Alright, so that is actually empty right now. So the only thing we've got a redraw method as a thing for that. I wonder if there's an options changed event. We were setting color as a property on other things, which means we would want to look up and I think that if you do an options property, you can have defaults. Because we're mainly interested in the one scale right now. So that needs to do. What were we doing? Just straight up. Well, there's DOM-util create. DOM-util create. We've got a container. So for this, we need list the colors, which are killer something. This is like, that's just big enough to be annoying. This is where the cause. So we need to make a box or a swatch. And that just creates it and returns the container. We then need to okay, class name in container. And we're going to have to get this to clear first, too. And then swatch needs to have, I guess color's a style property, huh? How? href title, inner HTML. Does it have a style property? Color cause. Sidebar. Swatch is going to need a width and a height. All right, so this isn't even appearing. We haven't called redraw yet. Okay. Is it even in the DOM? Oh, there's that scale. Okay, that's there. Now it seems like, yeah, layers link. In container. Cause of death color. Maybe the control needs to have console.log is undefined? It's one of those rare cases where you need a semicolon, apparently. We got into the case. We processed all of those. So but we looked at its DOM. There wasn't anything there. It's not like we just haven't given it a size. There's actually nothing there. But this renders just fine. Also, why did I keep this as a property? Does that... No, that still works just fine. So we added it to the map. We see a init layout getting called. We called redraw. We see that getting called. We see elements being created. So I guess this doesn't actually add them to the container? DOM util. Get style create container. Did I misspell container? Test prop, set position. Get size to parent node. So even if the size was messing up, it would still have to have them in the DOM. And there it is. How about just container? Okay. Why is that there and this is not? Each case is getting executed. What? Div class, undefined, undefined, undefined. Because we're in a function. Alright, so I don't need you, I shouldn't need you, I shouldn't need you. Oh. I mean, I guess vertically works. I could possibly even do that. Except I did want to have some spacing and stuff on there. So we know that's a little bit small. Oh, so they have to have words on here. I mean, it's all well and good to put a scale up, but what does it mean? So what we really want to do is do something like that's not entirely true because we want to say this is like is really what we expect that to be. Switch expression. Oh. That's why it was colored. Oh, that's right, I did actually just make living not a thing. So really for color scale, we just not worry about that. Do I even want a width then? It actually kind of manages itself. Alright, so I swatch. Do we need a height now? Not necessarily. Although I think we do want asymmetric padding. And then leaflet control, color scale. Oh, did I have to explicitly add leaflet control to that? Oh, is that going to be all the same? That has the shadow effect. It doesn't give me any base. Well, it does have a background. It just, we need some padding to establish it as an element. Does it need that? Oh, because I was also thinking of doing some spacing between them. Which you would have to do at a swatch level. Just going to do the top a little bit more. So it looks like white may show up better here on the whole, which is interesting because it was designed for contrast with a, well, okay, so this one wasn't designed for as much contrast. Yeah, I might have to do something to work alpha in based on the color scheme. Although this is the only way you could possibly see multiple deaths on one spot. All right, so now really this only needs to display in certain circumstances. Well, this is a single color scale, and now that we have stuff here, how do we actually get that to switch? So that's the redraw. So this should be visible when any, well, the animation timer you can turn off with the anim layer completely. This has to do with two things. There is a has layer, right? Yeah, this is also a map thing. So this is command. Overlay add, overlay end. Well, there's on add, on remove, but because we need to add a companion control. Well, now where's the time dimension player? Because it has to be a related thing too, right? Map.time dimension equals time dimension. It's time dimension, it is player. Time dimension control. Oh, Eve target map. Okay. So anim overlay, well, as long as we got the map. So if we're adding, we know we have this one. So we have to create a color scale, which is not necessarily part of the map. Then, it's on add. On add, we definitely want, I guess, by that logic, we should have control here. And on point overlay add, we definitely want to add it. The tricky part, if map dot has overlay, point overlay, remove control, and this is one of the things I kind of need to sort out this whole, and you don't even have a remove. Whole question of how we manage time. Now, alternately, we could do something like, well, color scale, I would have to have a virtual overlay to put it in the sidebar thingamajiggy. In this, because this only does actual data overlays. Oop, has overlay. Okay. Oh, but this needs to be Eve dot target dot map. Eve target map. That one was okay. Eve.target.map. Okay. What was I using then? Has layer. What did that turn you on? No, it should just be the control. Alright, so that is the control. It's overall is visible. I guess there should always be some scale. Well, we can't really show anything for lineage. Color scale. Alright, so we're automatically there. When we set point color, we also have to do this for color scale control, and then color scale control redraw. So now you don't have a default, except we kind of do. And this renders nothing, and every time we redraw, we have to yeah, inner HTML. Much slower, much faster. Yeah, I was afraid of that. So we should be able to see this appear and disappear. The container will still be visible. It's visible as a dot, but it's visible. All right, so the others are linear scales. So I guess you could kind of do this in a similar fashion. With just the two endpoints. An actual gradient would be nicer. Oh, to represent this as actual times. Well, I don't know if I want to print out actual times. And generation wouldn't be too bad. Man, that is so muddy. I might need something besides brown for starvation. Because it kind of blends in with the red. So this is older, newer. That is this is cause of death color, but we're running it through the function color cause, and that is actually a little bit custom. So you can't just reuse that. Well, maybe I could. Is it birth time? Okay, birth time color. Well, yeah, that doesn't actually work with the function arguments. Background color is color linear, which I think needs yeah, this is where we need the point. Yeah, we still need the point data. Set data layers. Color scale control. Actually the min and max might be. Well, that's min and max time. It actually needs the change scale as well. But then in that case, it doesn't need the data. So this would be this dot options dot min, this dot options dot min, this dot options dot max. And at some point, we'll have to see about making that more general. This dot option. Oh, man, we're just misspelling it all over the place. Cause, oh, inner HTML. So this is older, newer. Well, that didn't work. Oh, because this needs to redraw when we change color. Set color. Set point color. No, you do oh. This is supposed to get the data when we get the data, and the color when we get the color. Maybe I forgot how I did this. Oh, no, it's base scale. Birth time color, birth time color. So scale is... Oh, and no, this is still min, or min max. Maybe I should. Maybe I should just do min and max on this. Those are the arguments it needs, but from a usage perspective. Oh, but these. My foreground color needs to be case sensitive now. So, I mean, the white actually works there. But now we have to do... Okay, now how does color linear look? Scale. So it only wants to use scale. And we really just do that math once there. So I guess this is some extra math in a function we're going to call a bunch. Min, max, max chain. I might not need these anymore even. All right, color scale. So this could almost be function, except I might want to display actual generation here. So this is min chain, max chain. And the text can actually be, I mean, this is almost always going to be 1. Okay, well, you can see what the current highest generation is. I sometimes think I need to do something to have those appear more on top. I'm going to revisit color scales in general, but the background image presents a challenge there. And right now we just don't do anything for lineage because it's kind of all over the place. Oh, you could actually, yeah, I probably could have arranged background gradients to do like this to the halfway point and halfway point to that. But it's something, and one of the important ones is that we actually have something here. Oh, maybe with those cayenne I could do old age as more of a dark. And then that would have decent contrast. All right. So in terms of getting hunger away from murder, we've got this, which is hard to see. We can go for more of a yellow. Even that's kind of hard to see too. Greens tend to be pretty hard to see. I'd have to see if I could find a particular shade that showed up, which is challenging. And then we've got the cayenne, kind of, which is like the opposite of red. I can go for a more yellowy, but yellow is another one of the problem colors. Hunger, so that is a higher number. Container is undefined. Oh, we do redraw. Whatever that was, I didn't want it. Okay, that's kind of a pukey brown color now. This is a little bit more distinct from the red. It's also a little bit of a fade. And then we want to get this on death points. Yeah, I want to keep the disconnect as a little bit of a different color because that's kind of outside of normal game mechanics. Oh, and I darkened Old Age, which so this was an aspect of gray. Yeah, it's actually very dark there. That sticks out a little bit more in terms of people living out their lives. All right. To place things by death time, so we've got death time and birth time. Var. Well, no, it's the window. But it is this. So we need an abstraction for a location. Okay, so what are you? Oh, you're select point. Yeah, so this is also going to have to do the same thing. Because we want to match what we see. That's probably fine. So we want to check. That we didn't break everything. Okay, so you got a time range. But we broke everything. Hey, look, var x equals x. Maybe up in a corner somewhere? Now what? X, X, Y, Y as a filter, and then lat long YX. I didn't have another XY here, did I? No. Where are you showing up? Zero? No. Is this select? Draw tile. Well, that's a little bit of an oopsie. What the heck did I break? Birth X, birth X. Birth Y, birth Y. Bertie. There we go. And then point is not defined. Point. Here it was. Inside of a function. Okay. Oh, this does need to be adjusted for the new end, though. Get current time. So really, this is if current time is between if point dot birth time wait. No, if time is between time between it should just make it generally harder, well, in time view. To select all the SIDS babies. All right, so that did a little bit of abstraction over the XY stuff. So now we can have an option again. What do we call this? And then this one, unfortunate amount of logic and a quick little filter. Okay, by itself, that shouldn't break anything. This dot options. Oh, yeah, you're in a function. Is this one? Yeah, you're in a for each function. And really that's the default. Oh, I guess if there's a default, we could have just specified it. Okay, so this is actually kind of very similar to here. This dot options. Which one are you? Being a jerk. Oh, it didn't actually change it. Okay, so that works, that works. We need... All right, so point color type. Point location. Was birth location or death location? Which probably is going to change some of my data definition there. So point color. Point location. Birth color, birth location. Although I can actually translate this. Since this is going to end up in a dedicated field, it doesn't have a dedicated type symbol for it. Oh, I have to... Okay, we have to be able to respond to that message. Point color... I guess for single option things, maybe you could abstract this somehow. And this I don't think affects the scale. So the application doesn't use that type yet. Select point color. That's gonna cause some dominoes. Alright, select point color. What the heck did we just do? Point location. Ooh, that means we have to expose that. Map UI. Maybe you actually don't need all the details on this. You need the type. When we have it, we need to have a default. Although I guess for a one-shot thing, you could explicitly reference it. This would have been a better place for search and replace. View. Oh, it probably... Yep, syntax change because it was the first versus the second element. Point location, maybe point color. Aha. Okay, things moved around. But now we don't have as many deaths out here. lots of hunger on the trail. Marking eaves is probably less relevant here. T is not null. What? Why is this scale dependent? Oh, because some points don't have death locations. Which actually makes this structure work out a little bit better. Oh, you can definitely see some of the spread from explorers. Lineage, birth time. Oh yeah, you can see some of these people that they were born in the towns covered up by points, but they were exploring. And that was just time. People moving into new areas. Yeah, okay, so there's not as much there. Cause of death, lots of SIDS and hunger in the wilderness. Murder mainly in towns. And this is where the filtering by cause of death might be useful, so you could actually just find all the murders. But I don't currently have a means set up on the server to do that, because killer is going to be a special case where you have to... If any of that, I might need to separate cause, or have a separate field that's just the single value. So is that really all that enabled for us? We haven't used death time yet, but we're displaying, well, we're displaying all of life. We have the option to display death location and the option to display cause of death. And we now have the tools to do the fully animated timeline view. And you could probably see murder sprees on here if you're going through on time. Well, you almost have to be closer. Of course, oh, those are going to be shorter lives because they died. Maybe for this, you actually want to use some different styling for certain causes of death. Similar to, you know, like if you're on death time, probably eaves are a little bit less significant. Yeah, so there's a migration, possibly followed by a war. And I have not been getting my to-do list up. Cause of death. I'm still not sure about that one. Against hours. We're probably approaching the point where I can leave this to work on other map stuff. I do kind of want to solve the time toggle thing. That makes it less convenient to get to. I wouldn't have to worry about both layers if I did set it up so it was an either or. I think we still have to commit this though. Now, I suppose for finding a character, it'd be useful to be able to see both. But I don't have a good setup for that right now. Oops. And since I copied that, probably down there as well. Oh, I didn't save this. I kind of want to do something more with monuments too. Yes, this is a preset of a couple things here. Okay. So if I did filter by cause of death, I could actually just do that client side. In which case, maybe I should even put it here to, I mean, that's kind of a technical detail. This feels like the data filtering side of things. So if I do set up, well, if I set it up bookmarking layer sets, then this is a very direct way to do that. But really, that's just animated or not. Because these should kind of be their own little radio button. Well, it's like, is data on, and which is it? And it's sometimes useful to play along and then kind of check in context. But otherwise, it's a little bit weird. And I sort of want... If I used this, I could just have a monuments layer. we would have to set up to send the server selection over to the map. What would that look like? That would look like a... And then taking that out of the big overlays list. Well, probably there would be a group in the overlays list that contains the point layer and the anim layer. And then we swap those based on this, which actually that could be separate from getting a time switch over here. Which wouldn't clean that up as much, but it would be a start. All right, so we've got a data layer with data. We've got begin playback. Oh, I've been using, I've got an anim overlay state that I use to detect whether we want to begin playback or not. We've got a playback scale. Search overlay. Anim overlay is already, actually I've already kind of got a message for it. And we've got a state for it. It's just a Boolean. This thing might be a little bit heavyweight. We have an equivalent of a checkbox. Default checkbox. Oh, you can have an icon. How nice. Okay, so a default checkbox. Well, default checkbox is just the bool. So that's like just the checkbox, and then you do the label yourself somewhere. These things have had, like, this is how to label, this is how to label, this is how to label. In order for the checkbox to have a label, we kind of have to do that. So we've got time dimension. So I guess I was doing that. This is going to actually control that field. Actually, this is probably going to be a little bit like a radio. Well, except for the array. Not sure if that's going to be as necessary. So there isn't a thing here. Toggle animated. On change. This has checked. Model.data animated. Label is, this might, everything else is label above, but that seems kind of odd for a checkbox. Label left. I don't know what the, there's got to be a better name for timed, but. And icon. Oh no, wait, that's the bool to element message. That's probably icon equals input.default checkbox. So this is, I don't think we have anything else here that takes a bool. We could use this temporary. Well, we could do like an always. Does not expect a default checkbox. Okay, that's just a typo. Checkbox. Okay, that doesn't do anything. That's very close. I mean, it kind of works. It'd be better if it was more targeted. And maybe it should be that side after all. And is this just better spaced for this? I never did make this my default view because we're doing some other stuff most of the time. Maybe it doesn't need to be 10. And this expects to be a Boolean. Yep. Map UI, we did it up around here. Because it's not really toggled, it is actually having a value. Leaflet. Was it anim layer? Anim overlay. This is probably doing just that overlay, not the other one, although we might be changing that around. And then that is interpreted as okay, so that removes, that doesn't turn data back on necessarily because we're treating them as a separate thing. That would make it fully symmetric. But really, we want, yeah, we want to collect these into the little subcontainer. All right, so that is a piece that actually seems to kind of work. Now, we used to be informing you based on this, but if this isn't a selectable thing, then we just can stop that. So this might actually, so you send that way. Let's just add remove layer, but that's to the map, so that might, well, I had to track it. All right, so life data. So we do need to have a little name for this. Oh, it can be overlays. Life. All right, because this was a hidden one. Okay, is a layer group. Okay, so overlays life data. This would be data overlay. Oh, add to means it is visible though. So these are not going to be visible by default. Although the default state of this would be to show, if it was on, to show that version. This is going to complect when the time scale is on. Because it's not just when the time layer is itself added to something. It's when the data layer is visible and that layer is visible. Similarly, yeah, okay, so this is the messy bit that I wasn't sure if I wanted to get into right now. So grouping those isn't too bad. Coordinating when this appears and when this appears with two different states is where it gets messy. So we want some kind of helper function that looked at, well, that would be map.hasLayer and data overlay hasLayer. Anytime. Oh, I guess the removes would always hide their controls. You. Now, overlay, add. Yes, this would just be life data. Oh. Well, no, it sort of half recognized itself there. Oh, that was probably the data coming in on the delay. Huh. So it still recognizes when it's added to the map. However, this does not seem to be, the color scales for both of them. So really this scale is just going to be tied to this rather than worrying about which of the two data layers it's on. Color scale control. Map.add control, remove control. Then all this stuff can just go away. And that was the entire reason we had to remove on you. Oop. Oh, I guess it got added right away when we did this, so we can't actually do... Oh. So that was actually the problem there. Okay. And I would still like to have the thing that's actually like here for enable. Huh. Maybe I could build something off of here that's just like a time toggle. And it won't really be a scale thing or a color scale thing. So we have that. We want to do something with condensed monument layer on map time toggle. Of course, then I would need my data animated things back. All right, so we're not quite done yet. Single data overlay with time toggle. But that's going to get into, well, it'll be similar to this. I guess one thing I could do, since I'd like to get there, is go grab the icon for it. Get that into my icon package so that by tomorrow, that will actually be CDN'd out if we end up publishing it. Clock. So if we had a hover thing for it, and actually, I think I forgot. Well, no, it's still showing up, so that's what I did. This is going to be an icon. Just time. All right, so we want to replace you. Ikamoon symbol defs. And that shouldn't affect anything current. It just will get us set up. Actually, I guess it's mostly used in here. To be able to have some sort of time toggle next time. Work. For later. All right, so monument layer might be some shuffling around. Time toggle. I mean, they're all things that might work out and might run into difficulty. So I think I probably want to stop there, have lunch, and tackle that next time sometime. All right, so that's it for now. We want that one. Thanks for watching. thanks to everybody who hosted me. What do we got? Oh, looks like I need to check on the following endpoint. That's the second time that's kind of glitched out. So probably need to put that on my to-do list as well. Anyway. That is about when I tend to be on. Looks like toaster fuel is chasing bugs. So if you're looking for someplace cool to hang out, toaster fuel is someplace cool to hang out. Now I did notice some swearing there in the past, so just if you mind that, be advised. Otherwise, thanks for hanging out with me. Goodbye and until next time.